So as I said before, the iPad is wrapped in a sheet of plastic for protective reasons. I'm going to remove that and give you a brief orientation of the device. Using the pull tab that I used to remove it from the box, I can just actually peel the plastic off the device, and it just comes right off. I'm going to flip it over. And then the iPad slides right out of the sleeve, so it's kind of like a nice little wrap job. And if I ever want to put it back in the plastic, I can keep that in the box. Here's our iPad, sans plastic. I'm going to give you a little orientation on the actual look of the device. As I took the iPad out of the box, the pull tab was at the 6 o'clock position, and at that same position we have what's called the home key. The home key is a circular button that's located on the face of the iPad. It's the only physical button that's located on the face of the iPad. So if you feel around, you can actually feel a circular indentation. Just for beginning orientation, this should be located at the bottom middle edge of your screen, or at the 6 o'clock position. I'm going to start with the left edge of the device. As I slide my finger up the left edge, I find no buttons whatsoever here. So this edge is completely button free. I'm going to bring my finger up to the top and then start moving towards the right. The first thing I encounter is a headphone jack. The headphone jack is located at the top left corner of the iPad. This is where I plug in headphones or a headphone microphone combination to use the device in privacy or to listen to VoiceOver or music. Across the top towards the right corner, I find my power button. Power button is a longish button. It's kind of rectangular in shape, and this button is both the power button and the button that I use to lock the device, so it puts it into kind of a sleep mode when I want to just put it down and not use it, so that it's not totally turned off but is able to be powered up in seconds. Now we're going to move down along the right edge of the device. The first button that I encounter as I move down the right side is the mute switch. And this is more like a slider switch, so it slides up and down. When this switch is flipped up, the device is unmuted. Unmuted means whatever sound effects go along with navigation or any kind of activity that you're doing on the iPad, these sound effects are played while you're working with your device. If it's in the down position or the muted position, those extra sound effects are not going to be heard. So you will still be able to hear VoiceOver, but you won't be able to hear any other audible sounds that give you information about where you are or what you might be doing. The reason for this switch is really when you're in a public place and you don't want all these extra sound effects to be going off. When I'm working with it on my own, I usually leave it in the unmuted position, which is up. Right below that, we have the volume switch. The volume button is like a rocker button, and it's an elongated button with kind of an indent or a dimple in the center. The upper portion is for raising the volume, and the lower portion is for decreasing the volume. I'm going to continue down the right side of my iPad. There are no more buttons that I encounter, and I'm going to start sliding my finger along the bottom edge. The first thing I encounter is the speaker grille, which is kind of along the lower edge, but a little bit towards the back. As you touch it, you'll feel there's a little difference in the texture of the iPad at this point. It's where all the sound comes out from the device. Moving further along the bottom edge, in the center we have the port where we can connect the USB cable that either plugs into our computer or to a wall adapter so that we can power it up and charge the battery. This port is located directly below the home key, which we discussed earlier. Let's talk for a minute about cameras. The iPad comes equipped with two cameras. One is on the front or on the face of the device, and the other one is on the back. The front-facing camera is a small dot that can be seen under the glass of the iPad surface. It's actually at the opposite end of where the home key is. So the home key is at 6 o'clock, the camera is at 12 o'clock. And this camera is used predominantly for people who are using FaceTime, which is a video conferencing software that is included with the iPad. The second, or back-facing camera, is located on the back of the device. It's directly below the power button on the upper right-hand corner. And this is the camera that you use when you're using the screen as a viewfinder. So these are all the buttons that are on the iPad. The screen is about 9.75 inches diagonally, and when we're holding it in portrait orientation, the traditional orientation is where the home key at the 6 o'clock position or at the bottom center of the screen. As you move your device or as you flip your device, orientation changes. So if I flip it to a portrait orientation, the screen will adjust so that it's viewable in that way. For those of us using VoiceOver, this can get a little disorienting, so we're going to discuss locking the orientation in a later video.